Chapter 17, Think Piece, gives us 4 scenarios to consider and figure out what kind of report we need to write. And remember, our textbook talks about the different types of reports. It talks about a feasibility or recommendation report. Our textbook talks about writing a lab report. It talks about writing a progress or a status update report, talks about writing a trip report, an investigative report, and I believe the last one is an incident, yes, an incident report. So those are some of the ones that we have to consider for what type of report is best for each of these scenarios. Before I present my answer, I'm just going to kind of recap each scenario. So the first scenario is a computer information technologist who has realized, has traveled from his home office out of town. While he's there, he's realizing that the laptops are malfunctioning and he thinks he knows why, so he has to write a report on that. And as I'm saying this out loud, I'm going to add something to my first slide. But first, I think, first and foremost, he's writing an investigative report. So we know there's a problem. The concept of an investigative report is not just that there is a problem. It's here's the causes of this problem. So because Angel knows or thinks he knows why and is going to do more research, we're really looking at an investigative report here. He's investigating the causes into why these laptops are malfunctioning. We also recognize, though, and this is the thing I'm adding at the last minute here, you guys, we also recognize he's out of town. Because he went on a trip, he's probably also going to have to write a trip report that's completely separate from his investigative report with these laptops. He could have discovered that these laptops were malfunctioning while he was working in his office and not traveling. So in that case, he would just still be writing an investigative report. And there's really probably no space in a trip report for him to include a full investigative report. He might mention it, but probably he's going to have to write 2 separate reports. And I think we're gonna see that come up again later. So in a second example, we have a special events planner who's learned that at the very last minute, a band is canceling. Her team researches 6 alternative options and needs to present them to the higher ups for consideration. And so what type of report would you want to write for that? You would want to write an incident report. Now, I struggled with selecting this as my answer because whenever I hear the word incident report, I always think that there was some kind of property damage, some kind of accident, someone was hurt. I associate the word incident with a physical problem. However, according to our textbook, an incident report is a problem that has occurred during a project. This could certainly be an accident, damage to property, or someone's been injured. However, it also can include any kind of problem that you hit along the way where you need to you need to talk about the snags that you've hit. And so I think that the incident in this case is that the band for the midnight unveiling has canceled at the last minute, and this could provide 6 suggested alternate bands. At some point when I was typing up this, I thought, well, maybe it's a proposal. However, it doesn't, and I might go back and read this specific language, but it doesn't seem like it's a proposal because all they're doing is saying, one of the teammates has researched the problem and presented 6 alternative bands. Here are 6 options. I don't necessarily see that as a proposal because I think a proposal more so would be, here's 6 options, but this is the one that we think you should go with because these reasons. So I see this more of as an incident report. Here's the situation that we've run into. We need you to make a decision. We're giving you some extra info, like some suggestions or options. So I think that more closely aligns with the definition of an incident report in our textbook. Moving on to number 3, we've got a human resource manager who sells frozen Cajun food, and she's gone to New Orleans. While she's there, her van is sideswiped. So again, I think we're looking at 2 different reports here. I think we're looking at an incident report, which is kind of connects back to my traditional definition of an incident. there was an incident, right? Her van was sideswiped. So she has to account for that. She has to explain to her work and her boss why she came back with damage to the company van. So she's going to have to write an incident report, and she's probably also going to have to write a trip report because she still took the trip. She still has to explain what she did there. So in this case, unfortunately, she just has extra paperwork to do, and I think these are going to end up being two completely separate reports. The final scenario that we've got here for consideration on page 437 is a claims adjuster for an insurance company, and what he is doing is traveling for a site visit. 6 houses are insured by his company, and he's noticing that a hailstorm struck. There were no injuries, but there was property damage. So what kind of report is he writing? All right, here's what I think, you guys. I do not think that he is writing an incident report. And I feel like this is especially one of those situations where I wish we were in a classroom to discuss this at the same time, because I struggled with this one. I think he is going to write a trip report, and here's why. If an incident report is something you're reporting on because you are working on a project and some kind of problem occurs, that is different from what's going on with this insurance adjuster. He is not working on a project and the incident has occurred to his project. His job is to check out other people's incidents. So who would have written an incident report? The homeowner, right? The homeowner would have written that there was a hailstorm, we need you to come and fix it. But he is just doing his job. There is no problem for him, so he does not need to write the incident report. I don't know anything about insurance adjusting. I don't know if he does write an incident report, but in terms of this scenario and my limited information, the way that I'm interpreting the book's definition of these different types of reports, I think he's just writing a trip report. I took a trip, I did these things, here are the homeowner's incident report, maybe here's my observations, but in terms of, by the book's definition, he has not encountered an incident. He has not had a problem occur to his project that he is working on. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. If any of y'all have any more information or you want to talk about this one, just let me know. All right, so what? I think that here's my takeaway from this chapter, because this chapter is useful if someone says to you, hey, I need you to go and write a proposal. Okay, so cool. You can take out this book and you can look at different examples and figure out the theory behind what should be included in a proposal, whatever. But most of the time, no one is gonna do that. Someone's just gonna tell you, you're gonna know what you have to do. So I think my takeaway is this. There are overlapping styles, overlapping information in different reports. Some reports will include some similarities. And at your job, again, you're probably just going to be told, I need you to write this. You're probably not going to have to say, oh, this is a trip report. You're just probably going to have to fill out the paperwork in taking a trip with a company vehicle. Or something happens at work and HR is going to be like, hey, we need you to fill out this paperwork. I think that most companies have created such formal, structured processes for documenting things that you have to follow it their way, and that's for company uniformity and also probably liability. So this chapter is very helpful in theory, but I don't think it's as helpful in practice. That's my main takeaway here. If you guys have any questions or you want to talk more about any of these scenarios, just let me know.